I want to show you a picture here, if I get her name so I can tell you. There we go. Have a look at this girl. Beautiful girl, right? Georgia, her name is. All right, say hello to Georgia. Now listen to this. Da, 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 da. Student told heartburn that she was suffering was due to excessive drinking, but it was actually cancer. And you can see she's a young girl. There's a picture of her in a hospital. Looks like she's having a chemo treatment. A university student, so she's only going to be very young, has had the devastating news that her heartburn was caused by cancer. Not from boozing, as she had initially thought. I think the doctors had told her this. She was even told she now has an incurable cancer. Georgia Ford developed a choking cough and sickness last April, but a GP put it down to the amount of alcohol she was drinking and prescribed her stomach lining tablets. I've never heard of them before. They certainly didn't have them in my day. But over the course of several months, the 20-year-old symptoms, which included weight loss and back pain, got far worse. By November, after countless trips to the doctors, Georgia was diagnosed with a kidney cancer called papillary renal cell carcinoma. I've heard of that. That's nasty. Tragically, she learned the cancer had also spread to her lungs, liver, lymph nodes, and bones, and it was incurable. Tragic, really tragic. I'm sorry, Georgia, and for your family as well. You're only 20 years old, for Christ's sake. Georgia started treatment immediately to shrink and stop the cancer from spreading. Today, she's still learning to accept her unbelievable diagnosis and is figuring how to live with the condition. The aspiring criminal lawyer is also urging anyone dissatisfied with a doctor's response to push for answers. I mean, that's no easy feat in this this day and age with the NHS and the state it's in. One of the mental difficulties she faces is that she'll always wonder if the cancer was caught sooner, whether her prognosis might be different. Georgia from Gloucestershire said originally the GP said the sickness was acid reflux. I've heard of so many get blamed for that from the amount that I was drinking because I was a student. There's a stereotype. I was pissed half the time when I was a student. They were like, do you drink a lot? And I was like, yeah, obviously I do. So they put me on these stomach lining protection tablets. You believe what the doctor says? And I thought, I do drink a lot, and alcohol's poison, isn't it? Maybe it's just bothering my stomach a lot. But then I came home. I'm not a big drinker, and it still carried on. So I was slightly miffed as to why it hadn't just stopped. The tablets didn't work, and then it got put down to various other things. There was a time that they thought it may be an anxiety thing, and it was more a psychological symptom than actually a physical problem. When they said anxiety could be a contributing factor, I was like, I don't consider myself to be an anxious person to begin with, and also, how can this all be psychological? They basically said that this was all in my head and I wasn't ill at all. I said I fail to believe that I'm having this many severe symptoms and it's all in my head. I'm 5 months on from starting my treatment now, but I could be further along if I'd been diagnosed earlier. I don't know how much more ill I became in that time, and whether if it had been caught a little earlier, my story might be completely different. It's one of those questions that I'll never know, but always wonder. Georgia's cough got progressively worse to the point she couldn't climb stairs. She also lost 10 kilos in weight due to vomiting. Georgia said the cough was my main symptom at first, and I went to my GP about it a number of times and got told different things. Every time we try something new and it wouldn't work, I'd go back and we'd try something else. It was quite a choking cough. It would literally take my breath away. It wasn't chesty or dry. It was unlike anything I'd had before. I'd been at university going out and had been around loads of people, and then you come home and you're all run down. You do generally get a bit unwell. So I hadn't really thought anything of it when I came home, because I thought It's just my body reacting to burning the candle at both ends for such a long time. Then I went back to university last September and it just didn't go away. I'd coughed so much that I ended up being sick. That's when I started to lose weight because I wasn't holding on to food too well. My lower back pain got really bad again last October, which obviously in hindsight was my kidneys. It started to hurt quite a lot when I was lying flat. It wasn't very comfortable. I put my back pain down to bad posture or sleeping positions. I've always slumped and sat funny. I was always sat at my desk and didn't have a great setup or the nicest chair in a student house. It's usually some rubbish kitchen or cheap office chair. You just don't think there's things bigger than they are. A turning point was caused by Georgia coughing up blood, which led to her going to A&E, where they did an x-ray and cloudy patches were detected on her lungs. Yeah. At the time, she was told it wasn't cancer or anything life-threatening. She was put on a 3-month referral to a respiratory team, but during this time she became more unwell, so booked a private appointment. Georgia said there's very few times in my life where I've been speechless and I was sat there and words just completely evaded me. I didn't know what to say. I was just so shocked, just any hope I had of it maybe being something else. It was just the most sinking feeling to be told basically the worst case scenario, and I was just disappointed in everything. Honestly, it's not been the same since that. One moment had literally changed my entire life. They later said, look, it started in your kidney, it's in your lungs, liver, lymph nodes and bones. That's when they also told me that it was incurable. It's gone too far. It's just like this overwhelming sadness that just fills you all the time. I've come a long way since, and I'm on my way to accepting and just learning to live with it and doing what I can with the constraints of my life now, I suppose, the limits. But at the time, I've gone from being a full university student within a few weeks to being in hospital as a cancer patient. It was just unbelievable. It's literally turned my life upside down. Now she's having immunotherapy, which involves taking medication daily and having intravenous drips every fortnight. That'll be the chemo. She's also taking portable oxygen tanks out with her and uses an oxygen pipe at night to help her breathe comfortably. The aim of her treatment is to shrink the cancer down as much as possible to the point where she can live normally. It's hoped she'll return to her studies in the future. Georgia set up a GoFundMe to fundraise for 2 charitable organisations that are supporting her through her treatment and have raised £1,300 so far. Georgia said, no matter what a doctor or any healthcare professional says, you know your body better than anyone else. If you think that something's wrong and if you don't feel that they're saying is right, like you deserve a scan or something more, you need to push and push. That's very wise words from such a young girl. You're better off to have pushed and to know for sure it's not cancer than leave it and find out that it was. But I was quietened by the doctors who were like, you don't need an x-ray, you don't need an x-ray at all. Tragic words, and look what happened. Georgia is so right,